Right, so good morning from beautiful Sydney. As you can see behind me, it is the Crown Casino right there, and then right in front of me is actually the Star Casino. You're probably hearing one of the boats going into the wharf. Jesus, or I think I put together berth and wharf. Anyways, yeah, so good morning. I have just witnessed the sunrise today. I did a little bit of a time lapse so that I can show you guys. I am at, what is the name of Darling Island, I think is what this area is called. And I am basically just trying to give you an introduction of um, the Insta360 and my first impressions. And as you can see, I am walking away from the camera, and yet the audio is being picked up because I connected my DJI Mic 2 to the camera, and now it is recording the audio from my transmitter. Now I am going to stop using the transmitter. You can hear what the internal audio sounds like. So now I'm quite close to the camera. I'm sure it's not a very flattering angle, but I thought I'd let you hear the ambient sound around me. Um, and right, so as it turns out, I have been talking for a good 5 minutes and I wasn't even recording because um, one of the things about this camera is that it recognizes gesture, particularly putting your hand up, raising it palms forward or even palms away from the camera, and it will either start or stop recording depending on where you're at. If you're recording, it will stop it, and if you're not recording, it will start it. And I did that, as you would have seen in just the previous clip, and I did not turn it back on. So I didn't raise my hand, I didn't press the shutter button, so there you go. I just wasted a couple of minutes of me talking and probably losing my train of thought as I did that. But anyways, I'm going to pick up where I left off. You're probably not even hearing what I was saying because there's a boat on the side. But I am now going to record internally into my microphone, so you can hear the difference of that as well. And I did it again. So again, I've been talking, walking around for a while, and I wasn't even recording. But you're hearing the audio now. Internally recorded into my DJI Mic 2. So let's talk about that. And you're probably wondering why you already have the Pocket 3, you already have the Action 3, you already have two cameras and your iPhone. What do you need this camera for? Right? And to me, I intended to use it, or I still intend to actually, to vlog. Yeah, as your as you can see, this camera can record in 360, meaning all angles, up, down, left, right, straight up, and or straight down. And yeah, so you're following me right now because you can actually activate deep tracking while you edit, when you are in the editing phase of your video. Okay, it's not like the DJI Pocket 3 where you can do active tracking. So with this one, you will have to do it while you're post-processing. With the Pocket 3, I simply have to draw a box around myself and hit record, and it will follow me around for as long as the gimbals is able to reach that direction. Whereas this one, because it's recording everything around me in 360 degrees spherical, yeah, you can film and sit anywhere, walk anywhere, and it will be able to follow. But you can't do that while you're recording. It has to happen when you're editing. So, but that is actually one of the things that I wanted to say that is a pro for this camera. I did make a list as I have been testing this. I also want to preface that I bought this camera myself, okay? So I want to talk about the Bluetooth connectivity. As you've heard from at the start, I was recording the audio of this video using the DJI Mic 2 connected to the camera. So that is one of the great things about this. You can actually use your DJI Mic 2. I'm not sure about the Mic 1. I don't own it, so I can't test it. But I'm very happy that this actually works with the Mic 2 because I just bought the Mic 2 and it cost me 500 freaking Australian dollars. So I definitely want to make the most out of that. And that was one of the things that I guess, what's a deciding factor for me is whether my existing gadgets would work well with this. I didn't buy any of the tripods or the selfie sticks because I've got a number of them already at home. And I only really needed the camera. So I bought the base model that had just the camera, the two lens guards, and what else was in it? The thermal grip, which I've got on the camera at the moment. And I'm simply using the tripod and selfie stick that I already have in my possession. So anyways, as I was saying, but even though there is Bluetooth connectivity for the Mic 2, it is not always reliable. In my testing, I have found that there are instances where the connectivity drops, and I found myself editing videos that don't have sound. Like, it's either inaudible or it simply is not there. It's not always, but I don't really want to risk it. So, and you would have heard the internal audio, which isn't bad, but having an external microphone is infinitely better. So what the audio that you're listening to now is being recorded internally into my Mic 2. And I find that that is the best way to do it, although it is not the easiest to post-process. So keep that in mind. You could obviously get the mic adapter and the mount to actually connect the receiver via cable to the camera, but I just don't want to spend any more money until I've learned how to use this properly. Okay, video quality. You would have seen this all over the place. 8K 30 frames per second is the maximum that this can do, which is a lot better than the previous generation that was only up to 5.7K. So that's pretty good. It's not always very flattering when you're up close to the camera, so don't go too close to the camera. But also, you need to be aware that if you are going to be filming in low light, it's not advised that you use 8K. It actually will give you a warning to use 5.7K in low light conditions, as that would gather more light. I don't know the science behind it, but it just does. Okay, it's very easy to use. It's very user friendly. You don't really need to faff about too much. It's very intuitive. There is a learning curve, particularly if you are like me, who's a first-time owner of a 360 camera. I've mentioned this in the unboxing that I did buy the X3 last year and returned it after a week of using it because I thought it wasn't for me and I didn't want to bother learning. And especially because I was debating between getting the X3 and the Action 3 of DJI back then, and decided I wanted to go the normal route, and kind of regretted it because the Action 4 came out like 2 months after I bought the Action 3. Anyways, that's a different story for another day. Varying or multiple viewing angles because of the 360 camera. This has got two lenses, as you probably already know, and both of the lenses are able to capture, I think it's 170 degrees, and then they stitch together what those two lenses capture for it to give you that 360. I don't think it actually captures 180 degrees, but I could be wrong. Correct me if I am wrong. I already talked about tracking in post. Okay, the other thing, gesture control. You would have seen, and because of my fails, determined that gesture control is not always reliable. Okay, with gesture control, there are two gestures that this camera recognizes, and one is raising your hand, and the other one is doing the peace sign. So the peace sign is for taking photos. If you make the peace sign and the camera is on, it will take a photo. And if you raise your hand and the camera is on, it will start recording. If you are recording and you raise your hand, it will stop recording. So let's try the gesture control with stopping this recording. Just tested gesture control for taking a picture, and you have to be at a certain distance from the camera for it to recognize it. And I am standing about a meter away. Right, so you have to be in that one, because I initially stood up to here and did the peace sign, nothing happened. So there you go. Just so you know, you can't be too far from the camera. It wouldn't be able to recognize that you've done the peace sign. All right, now let's try the other capabilities of this camera, starting with time shift. Another thing that I wanted to mention that annoyed me when I first started trying this out is file transfer. If you use the USB cable and connect the camera directly to your computer, I don't know about you guys, but mine keeps dropping, like it's not getting read properly. And it's just annoying. Like every time I want to move a file to my computer, and mind you, I've got a Mac M2, so it can't be that my computer is slow, but every time I try to move the files, it just stops reading the whole thing. Is that something that is an issue for you guys? Let me know, because I still have some time to return this if it's defective. Okay, let me know. But yeah, that's my first impressions so far on the 360. I do want to keep it, and I will keep it as long as that issue of the file transfer is not a defect, but something that can get fixed, I guess. Let me know in the comments section down below if you have any questions, if you want me to try a few things about this. Now, I am not your Peter McKinnon or who are these like big video people. That's not me. I'm a regular person who's going to be probably using this like a regular person would. Okay, so manage your expectations.